Hey everyone, today I wanted to go ahead and provide you guys with a very quick PSA as the official Capcom account has gone ahead and provided us with an official survey as of the launch of Xbox, Windows, and PlayStation versions of base Monster Hunter Rise, and they are taking in on player feedbacks and players' requests for any sort of upcoming changes for this and presumably Sunbreak's launch, PlayStation, Xbox, and Windows. And a lot of hunters have decided to just kind of give it to Capcom and let them know regarding crossplay and cross saves options, since they are basically non-existent to some degrees. I made a video recently where I discussed how there are just some limitations on cross saves. Basically, if you buy the Xbox version, any one of the Xbox versions, you can cross save and cross play with Xbox One, Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, and PC Windows. If you buy the PlayStation version, PS4 or PS5, you can cross-save and cross-play between each other, but Nintendo Switch and PC Steam versions of the game are still standalone. They are not available with cross-play or cross-saves across the board. And players have taken this survey to kind of just let Capcom have it and let them know that they are messing up big time and not giving players what they want. So I'm going to be leaving a link in the description below for you guys to go ahead and fill it out. Let them know, let Capcom be full aware that they are, still not giving us features that players want to see, on top of the fact that I've seen a lot of people already demand that Sunbreak should have launched with base Monster Hunter Rise alongside it on PlayStation and Xbox, and they didn't necessarily do that. You're going to have until February 19th to be able to fill this out, so if this video is going to remain up until then, for people to go ahead and fill out the survey if they so desire. Once again, link in the description below. The very first few questions are pretty standard. Which platform are you subscribing for? Which version of the game do you decide to buy? Game Pass, Series X, Xbox One, Windows 10 or 11, PS4, PS5. Which version did you get? Standard, Deluxe? A lot of people probably just picked up the standard version because the Deluxe version doesn't necessarily seem to be worth the money. Which platform are you currently playing on? And they ask you, where do you hear the information about base Monster Hunter Rise? They provided plenty of details, of course. Usually the influencers and general social media accounts are the best way, since they help small channels like mine, but any others will suffice. The same thing can also be said for which sources of information are you using to get information for Monster Hunter. What were your reasons for purchasing base Monster Hunter Rise? They provided plenty of them. I like the game. I like the Monster Hunter series. The story looked interesting. The characters were appealing. High visual graphics, which presumably a lot of people are going to pick. The game was available on Game Pass. It's probably going to be the more popular one for sure. Again, plenty of options available there. How satisfied are you with the game? Some of the settings, Japanese-inspired settings. World building, fun and battles. Difficulty of battles. Again, satisfied, dissatisfied. Character designs, monster designs, environmental designs, sounds, music, cutscene voice acting, overall volume of content. This is probably one that gets the interesting part. Are you excited? Are you satisfied? Are you dissatisfied with the amount of monsters that they just simply provided in base Monster Hunter Rise? Which again, you do get all the free title updates included there, so there's plenty of monsters added in that were not available for the launch version of Nintendo Switch, and PC Steam. And the best question here that they just didn't necessarily let you fill in a response for this one, but I think the answers will be unanimously negative, and that is paid downloadable content lineup. Extremely satisfied, somewhat dissatisfied, dissatisfied, and extremely dissatisfied. And I think for me personally, extremely dissatisfied for paid downloadable content is the best way to go, since they are just way too much paid DLC, not enough free DLC. That is just the ongoing narrative. A couple of more questions here. How satisfied are you with the game? Would you recommend this to a friend? That one's always a little bit of an interesting one, since this is a co-op game and you do want to play with friends, but the lack of cross-play and cross-saves limits that, and that's where the final question comes in. Please share what you like and dislike about this game. Now, what I like, plenty of things. In my reviews, I was extremely positive about the PS5 version of the game. This Series X version is no different. I've seen Digital Foundry talk about performance being a little shaky on Xbox Series X I don't see it. The game is running over 100 frames per second if you're using the 1080p mode, so it's not a problem whatsoever, especially if you have a TV that kind of takes care of like judder and stuff. Like I said, I have a C1, LG C1, so it kind of takes care of that. But of course, they're going to talk nicely about the PS5 version because they don't want to lose their audience. But more importantly, they ask what I dislike about this game. And of course, that is where you should be telling Capcom 100%. No crossplay, no cross saves. You know, it's just unacceptable. No reason why there shouldn't be those options available. Forget if they didn't even want to include the Nintendo Switch version in this. I saw someone in one of my videos argue that the reason why they didn't want to provide cross saves and crossplay between PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and Switch was because it was going to kill the Switch audience. People were not going to buy the Switch version anymore, and they were going to buy the other versions. Maybe to some degree that's true, but I mean, I will argue that sales for multi-platform games usually on the Switch end up doing fairly well. I mean, you just look at the Japanese sales charts, for example. Games that drop on PlayStation and Xbox and then Switch, the Switch version does just as good as the PlayStation versions. Nobody buys games on Xbox since, again, Game Pass. But when it comes to, like, you know, performance and stuff, yes, 100% you would buy the PlayStation or Xbox versions of the game. But the lack of crossplay and cross saves between Xbox and PlayStation, this just makes no sense. The lack of crossplay and cross saves between PC Windows and PC Steam is literally the same build of the game, and they don't provide you with that. I just don't understand it. I don't think Xbox is going to be sitting here telling, you know, Capcom to not provide crossplays and cross saves between, you know, Windows and Steam. Plenty of games have done that already. Nintendo, we know, is not telling Capcom to not do crossplay and cross saves between, you know, Switch and other consoles. They don't care. They're not particularly all that interested in that. So, you know, this is a Capcom 100% doing, and they're not doing right by Hunters, providing them with crossplay and cross saves. So let them know. This is where you can take your chance. Go into social media and complaining about it. I've seen a couple of people make videos about this and complain. Lack of crossplay, lack of cross saves. Not really going to make a difference. They don't necessarily care unless you actually tell them. And this is the way to tell Capcom. I always talk about these type of surveys videos because that is the way to get their attention. Subsequently, they also ask a couple of more questions, but the last one that I'm going to be talking about here is that the massive expansion Hunter Rise Sunbreak will release spring of 2023. Do you plan to purchase it? And if you tell them no to cross-play and cross-saves, telling them no for Sunbreak is probably a good choice. Remember, especially if you're playing that on Game Pass, they're already kind of getting a sell based on the fact that you're playing it. But they want to get you to commit to buy Sunbreak. And in order for you to be able to do that, you're probably going to want to bring your character along. So, you know, that's something worth considering, telling them no to both and let them know to provide you with better features, maybe more monsters, more free title updates, whatever the case is. But of course, crossplay and cross saves is the driving factor right now for people to not necessarily jump in PlayStation or Xbox side of things. So that's about all the information that I have for you guys today. Once again, link in the description below for their official survey. Certainly encourage everyone to check it out because this is kind of important, not just for this specific version of the game, but of course going forward to the next mainline entry. It needs to have crossplay, it needs to have cross saves, whatever that version of the game is. PS5 only, Xbox Series X, you know, PC, whatever. Even if Nintendo Switch is excluded from that, that's fine. Make sure you have crossplay and cross saves for the next mainline game. It is unacceptable to not have that at this day and age. Especially, this is one of the things that I did notice someone pointed out in the comments as well, especially when Wild Hearts of all things is actually choosing to do that. You know, Wild Hearts is launching relatively soon, I think in about a month or two, and that game is going to have crossplay and cross saves, which is something that I remember seeing in the trailer, but I completely forgot afterwards. You know, plenty of things about that game are a little bit forgetful or like not necessarily stick in your mind. And that is one of those things that like that game is going to have on day one. No excuses from EA, no excuses from Koei Tecmo. They're just going to make it available. So make it easier for players to be able to play with each other and have a bigger pool of players chasing and hunting together, which is always a good thing. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up, and as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya!